25 mind-blowing historical facts we definitely didn't learn at school. It can be a surprising fact that makes you think about common sense, or it can be an outrageous anecdote that is too crazy to be true. Either way, this amazing piece of history will complement the way you perceive time and history. Welcome to Story Time. As a wise man once said, George Santayana, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Here are our picks for the 25 startling historical facts you've never heard before. At number 1, Cleopatra was married with 2 brothers. The famous Queen of Egypt is famous for some strange and outrageous things like taking a milk bath, laying carpets, and killing snakes. But what you may not know is that traditionally she marries 2 brothers, not one. Both eventually died, one drowned in golden armor, and the other probably poisoned on her instructions. Also made in 1963, it was one of the most expensive films ever made. Cleopatra bathed in milk to attract parasites from her body. It was a successful treatment at the time. Number 2. The Great Wall of China is unfortunately called the longest cemetery in the world. The Great Wall is a cemetery where thousands of people who died lifting huge stones to build the Great Wall are buried. Cold-blooded and tragic Chinese horror. It was a special punishment for convicted criminals. Number 3. Rasputin was poisoned and survived the shooting. Grigory Efimovich Rasputin was a Russian mystic and self-proclaimed saint. He was stabbed in the stomach, shot in the chest, poisoned, and finally died on December 16, 1916. After failing to kill Rasputin in a gunshot, he was beaten, tied, and thrown into the water's frozen river Neva. Number 4. A woman's compassion and love for her father. A painting of a young woman nursing an old man in prison sold for 30 million euros. It may sound absurd, but the story behind it is indescribable. During Louis XIV's reign in impoverished France, he was sentenced to starve for stealing a loaf of bread. The woman was his only daughter and the only guest in his cell. He was allowed to visit every day, but he was not allowed to bring food. After 4 months, the person is still alive, has not lost weight, nothing. Now authorities tracked her out of her cell and found her nursing her father and sharing the baby's milk. Realizing the woman's compassion and love for her father, the judges set her free. Number 5. American Civil War Battle of the Picnic. The first American Civil War, the Battle of Bull Run, was called the Battle of the Picnic because Washington's elite and wealthy citizens, including congressmen and their families, picnicked and watched the battle. Number 6. The shortest war lasted 38 minutes. The Anglo-Zanzibar War was fought on the 27th of August 1896 between the Sultanate of Zanzibar and the British Empire. The military clash lasted between 38 and 45 minutes, making it the shortest war in history. Number 7. Christopher Columbus did not discover America. Columbus explored the coasts of Central and South America, but never reached the North American Indians. The Viking Leif Erikson is believed to have arrived in North America about 500 years before Christopher Columbus was born. Number 8. Rig Veda is the oldest book in the world. The Rig Veda is a collection of Vedic Sanskrit hymns from ancient India and is considered the oldest surviving scripture. It is one of the 4 Indian sacred scriptures known as the Vedas and is also the oldest known Vedic Sanskrit scripture. It is the oldest scripture in the world after the other 3 Vedas and the Upanishads, containing a collection of 1028 verses. It dates from approximately BC. It belongs to the years 1900 to 1500. Number 9. The most successful pirate in history was a Chinese woman. She is Chinese and the most successful pirate in history, Kingxi. In her prime, she commanded 1,800 pirate ships and about 80,000 men. She is also known as the Pirate Queen. Who would have thought that the most successful female pirate? She's the only pirate I know besides Captain Jack Sparrow. Number 10. Each of the 200 are considered direct descendants of Genghis Khan. The first emperor of Mongolia, Genghis Khan, had so many wives that today 200 male citizens are considered direct descendants of Genghis Khan. The study was published in the European Journal of Human Genetics. Number 11. Fox throwing was once a popular sport. Fox throwing was a popular competitive blood sport in many parts of Europe, especially Germany, during the 17th and 18th centuries. Live foxes and other animals flew into the sky. Number 12. Napoleon Bonaparte, known as the Little Corporal, was not small in stature. According to Wiki, Napoleon was the Bonaparte who led many successful battles during the French Revolution, and the Little Corporal was actually famous for being 1.68 meters, the average height of a man, 5 feet 6 inches. Number 13. Albert Einstein did not fail in mathematics. Many people believe that Einstein was a math failure as a student, but records show that he was an outstanding student. Some of his grade books are still available online. In other words, he's bad at science but good at math. Number 14. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb. When Thomas Edison started working on light bulbs, there were several versions of the light bulb, but they looked slightly different. Before Edison, more than 20 scientists worked on light bulbs with their own patents. Number 15. Hitler was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. In 1939, Adolf Hitler was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. It was nominated by Erich Gottfried Christian Brandt, a parliamentarian who could be nominated for a peace prize. It was only 3 months before he invaded Poland and started World War II. The nomination didn't matter because it was considered a joke. Number 16. In Renaissance France, women could file lawsuits if their husbands had erectile dysfunction. Divorce was rare in 16th century France, only for the wealthy and only under special circumstances. At the time, erectile dysfunction was the only shortcut to divorce. Number 17. The US government poisoned alcohol in the 19th century, and in 1926 the US government decided to poison alcohol after they continued to drink despite sobriety. According to statistics, more than 10,000 people died due to the consumption of such alcohol. Number 18. Albert Einstein was offered the presidency of Israel. Albert Einstein was offered the Israeli presidency in 1952, but he turned it down, saying he lacked the innate ability and experience to get along with people. Number 19. Alexander the Great was buried alive. There is absolutely no archaeological evidence to prove the existence of Alexander the Great. Let's go anyway. Alexander the Great contracted a rare disease and was paralyzed for 6 days. His muscles were so paralyzed that doctors did not believe he was breathing and pronounced him dead. Therefore, it is very likely that he was accidentally buried alive. Number 20. They were female gladiators. Of course, rarely. However, it is true that in ancient Rome there were female gladiators, and they were called gladiatrices. If we knew more about them one day, we would probably be in a movie. Number 21. Give us our 11 days. Britain jumped 11 days in September 1752 when Britain switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, today's international calendar, bringing it into line with most of Europe. Before 1752, Great Britain and its colonies followed the Julian calendar, implemented by Julius Caesar in 46 BC. However, this calendar had a small one-day error every 128 years due to an 11-minute solar year miscalculation, and over the millennia it turned out to be 11 days. It's not bad though. 1 day in 128 years is a fairly accurate calculation of that time. It was caused by leap years. We add 1 day every 4 years because it takes the Earth 365 days, 5 hours, 59 minutes, and 16 seconds to revolve around the Sun. So to keep these 6 hours, we have a February 29th every 4 years. If you've noticed, we're adding 44 extra seconds to our calendar, and that's what causes adding 1 day every 128 years to be removed. And that's why we skip 3 leap years every 400 years. Number 22. During the First World War, the French built a fake Paris. During World War I, France decided to build a replica of Paris outside the city 15 miles north of Paris to fool the German bombers. Number 23. Turkeys were once worshipped as gods. During 300 BC, the Maya culture was at its peak, and it was their tradition to worship turkeys, and it was among the most sacred rituals. Number 24. The Roman Emperor Caligula made one of his favorite horses a senator. According to the ancient historian Suetonius, the Roman emperor known as Caligula loved one of his horses, Incitatus, so much so that he named him a senator. Number 25. Oxford University predates the Aztec Empire. The Aztec Empire was founded in 1428, while the University of Oxford was established as early as 1096, making it the oldest university in the English-speaking world. If you like the video and are interested in the history and other interesting facts, we welcome you to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos.